Alrighty, well, thank you everybody for joining us today. My name is Andrew Daphne. I'm the Instruction and Outreach Librarian at the New Jersey State Library. And today we have Marcia Rudolph from Capital Health, who is going to be guiding us in a gentle yoga session. So we thank her for providing this to us as we all struggle with the realities of life right now. So if you have any questions related to yoga in general or the routine that's being performed today, you can contact Marcia at mrudolph@capitalhealth.org. If you have any other questions, technical questions or other things, you can ask them in the questions box on the GoToWebinar dashboard, and I will hopefully be able to answer them for you, or you can email me directly. My email is adauphine@njstatelib.org. So before we get into the program, this is just a view of what your GoToWebinar dashboard should look like. If you do not see this, look for this orange box with a white arrow, either at the top left or right-hand side of your screen. That will open and close the dashboard, and it's possible that the dashboard loaded closed. So look for that if you don't see your dashboard. If you can't figure anything out, you're having trouble and you're just not sure what to do, you can use this raise hand button, and that'll alert me that there is something that you need help with, and I can get in contact you directly. There are no handouts for today, so we don't need to worry about that. And then here's the questions box below that you can just type in any question or anything else that you have, and that'll get sent to us. And if I can answer it, I will. At the end, if there are questions that Marcia could answer, then I can certainly ask her the questions and hopefully she can provide them for you. So we are going to now transfer over to Marcia, so bear with us as we get that set up.
It says unmuted. Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna actually also put my sound up, see if that, don't know if that helps. Actually, it was up pretty high. Okay. Oh, one more time. Okay. So are we good to go? Okay, thank you, Andrew. Hello, everybody. This is kind of a first for me, although I have been doing a Zoom class with my regular students once a week. So I don't know how many of you are out there, but hello to everybody. As Andrew said, my name is Marcia Rudolph, and I have been teaching yoga since 2005. And then before that, I was actually teaching breath awareness as a way to help deal with stress. So in the class, I have a really big emphasis on the breath. You'll get tired of hearing me just emphasize that it's important to connect with your own breath. And I'm also a community health educator from Capital Health System. So this is actually part of our Speakers Bureau service that we do. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have at the end. I also have a really good book list. I think there's always new books coming out. I actually have one new book that I really love and a couple on my list to get. So if anyone is interested in that book list, it's pretty lengthy, and of course I encourage people to, you know, just look around on their own as well. And just a little bit about yoga. So the word yoga comes from the Sanskrit Y-U-J, huge, and it means union, wholeness. So With yoga, we're trying to connect the body, the mind, and the spirit, and to bring all those things together. Big challenge, especially these days. And hopefully you'll get a sense of that today. I'm going to keep it very gentle, but anytime you have any pain, please just do some of your own natural stretches, or maybe just do a little breath awareness, which we'll do right now to start class. And so you don't want to have any pain. It's gentle class, so please take care of yourself. That's really important. And the focus is going to be on breath awareness, body awareness, which is also kind of sensory awareness, basically sensing your body walls. And both of those things will help to balance out the thoughts that sometimes go into worry or fear, anxiety. Again, you know, this has definitely been a challenging time for all of us. And listening to your body. So as I said, any pain, just back off. All right, so that's that. We're gonna get started. I usually like to start with a little bit of a meditation. So you can, if you have a block, you could sit on a block. If you have a pillow, you could sit on a pillow. You could also use a folded blanket at any thickness and sit on that. It just really helps to elevate the hips a little bit. It helps the posture a lot. And with yoga, you're working a lot on posture. So maybe find some support if that works for you. If you don't have anything, then that's okay. And we're just going to close our eyes. So whenever we close the eyes, it just helps us to focus on the body and the breath. And I usually do this for quite a long time, but since we have a shorter session today, we'll just do a couple minutes just to kind of separate out the day that came before and to just help you come into the moment now. And just an opportunity to let go of whatever faced you today, whatever's going on in your life. So we're just going to release the feet and the legs towards the floor. The legs release away from the hips. And we have two ischium bones or sits bones that we sit on. So under the buttocks, so just feeling those two bones. If you rock a little side to side and kind of pull the flesh out from your buttocks, you might feel them better. And they just kind of help us connect to the ground. And as we grow the spine nice and long, we're going to relax the low back and the sacral area, the middle of the back, and the shoulders and upper back, and just relaxing the neck and gently lifting the crown of the head just so that you feel that nice length in the spine. The shoulders release away from your ears. The arms, hands and fingers relax. You can have them palms down or up on your legs if that's comfortable. And then just relaxing the belly area, the heart and the chest, and softening the throat, and relaxing all the facial muscles. So the jaw can drop, the cheeks can relax, the lips and the tongue, the eyes, and the forehead skin. And with that, I invite you to just take your two hands and place one on the belly and one on the chest, heart area, keeping the spine long as the sits bones grow down and the crown is lifted. So now we're going to get a little bit into the sensory awareness and the breath awareness. So all we need to do is just feel those two hands resting on the belly and one on the chest. And please don't judge yourself if you don't feel any movement in one or both of those areas, because it will come the more we practice. So again, one on the belly, one on the chest. Relax the shoulders. And just an opportunity to sense the hands. And maybe with that, you might feel the movement of the breath in the body. As you inhale, it can grow wide in the belly, the chest lifts, and an exhale, everything swings back in. So just taking a moment here to focus and get in touch with the breath, because we will be using that throughout class today. Hopefully the thoughts have started to quiet down. Whenever we do this, if you just start to think, you can bring your awareness back to your hands, the movement of the breath, the body walls. And then if you'd like, you could bring the palms together in the heart space. So in the chest, again, spine is long, shoulders relaxed. And maybe a word or an intention today for your practice, something that you want to set. If it happens to come up, it could be as simple as peace, or I bring more peace into my life. That's just one. You can come up with your own. May my spirit lift. Anything at all. So after we do that, sometimes the body wants to move a little bit. So you could come off your support and you can just start to stretch. So this is where the listening comes in. What does your particular body need right now? It could be as simple as moving the toe joints or the ankles, or it could be as large as stretching into the spine, or maybe moving the neck, or stretching the legs, arms, anything at all. So the best thing you can do is just listen, and maybe wherever you feel a little bit of tension hanging on, you can stretch into that. And then just come back up to seated. And as I said before, you can pull that flesh out from underneath your buttocks. We're off of our prop now, and we're just going to anchor those two sits bones down. And throughout the practice, again, just focusing on long spine and bringing the breath in. So from here, we're going to do some warm-ups. If you have any arthritis, this is particularly good for arthritis in the spine and the hips. So we're going to start with a few warm-ups. And they're just simple stretches, circles. So we're inhaling towards the front of the body. We're going around towards the hips. Do not overdo it. And it can really help to just loosen up any tension in the spine or the hips. You can reverse directions. And then we just bring that to a nice close. It's always nice between stretches and postures that we do to just connect with yourself. So just noticing how you feel, any sensations in the body, the breath, emotions, just kind of like little before and after checks. The next one we're going to do are some spinal flexes. So you can either just sit cross-legged if that's comfortable and hold on to the shins. Or you can go a little wider and hold on to the front ankle where the front heel is in line with the back ankle and both feet are kind of sideways on the floor. So either way, shins or ankles. And we're going to inhale, arch, and look up. Exhale, round into the spine, pulling the navel in to engage the core muscles. And then inhale, arch. And exhale, round. And then just following your own breath. So it's going to be a different rhythm for each of us. And that rhythm will change every time we practice, as we change and our days change. So again, this whole series is really nice to just work through any tension on the spine and also just to loosen the spine up for more movements today. You can bring that to a close, and then if you're comfortable coming back up on a support, we sort of have one more. These are all from Kundalini Yoga, which works a lot with moving energy through the body. So we come up onto our support, if you have one, and we just relax the legs towards the ground. And we're just going to start here. Sits bones release down. Crown of the head is lifted, so long spine. And we're going to just start with inhaling the arms in a V. And reaching those fingertips towards the sky. Maybe even feeling some energy moving through the fingers. And bringing your awareness to the breath. So you might feel the sides of the body come alive and fill with breath. This often helps to lift the mood and increase energy. And then we're just going to reach and we're going to do our final Kundalini warm-up. So elbows are bent, palms face each other. Inhale to the left, exhale to the right. Gaze can follow the palms of the hands as you go from side to side. If you prefer having the eyes closed, that's okay. And you're going to engage the core muscles a little bit so that you don't over twist. So just pulling that navel in towards the spine. And you can actually do this for quite a long time. I think that will be it for here today, but you're welcome to try that whole series on your own. You could roll shoulders now, maybe move the neck. Any stretch is always welcome between things that we do. All right, we're going to come into cat and dog, which is a very basic, common yoga stretch. Also good for the spine. It gets us warmed up a little more. So with cat and dog, you can even use a blanket underneath your wrists and or your knees. So if you have any wrist issues or knee issues, you could do both. Otherwise, you could just do one or the other. Just for a little extra padding. I have carpet here, so I'm not going to do it, but when I teach in person, I use a blanket. All right, so my hands, your hands are going to be right beneath the shoulders. The knees are right beneath the hips. The tops of the feet are against your mat or floor. Your fingers are spread wide with the middle finger pointing straight ahead. And if you want even a little more alignment, it doesn't have to be stiff or perfect. You can face those elbow creases towards one another. If that's too much, just make it natural for yourself. And from here, we're going to inhale and lift up the sacrum, the pelvis, look up on an inhale, exhale, round, pull the navel into the spine as the head comes down. And on your own, so kind of like the spinal flexes we just did in seated. then again, you're going to follow your own breath now, and that will give you the most benefit. And again, if it gets to be too long, then you're welcome to just sit back down or do some stretches. And then we're just going to come back to table pose, which is just a neutral spine gazing down. And then we're going to bring the knees apart. And we're going to bring the hips back towards the heels. You can use blankets under knees. You could use some support underneath your hips. You could use a block under your forehead. And you can have the arms wherever it's comfortable. And we're just as much as you can, you're just releasing the weight back towards your heels. So it's a way to relax the spine in child pose. It's also a really nice one to bring in more peace and calm. So it's also considered a restorative. You could use a pillow under your belly even before you go to sleep. It's a good one to do before you go to sleep at night. But it's also just a really good transition posture. And you want to relax the shoulders and the whole spine and the forehead. And then from here, we're just going to walk our feet up towards our hands. You can take your time, and we're going to stay in a half pose. So you can just hold behind the ankles or the calves. The shoulders are relaxed. If you have unmedicated high blood pressure, heart disease, or some serious eye issues going on, you just want to keep your head level with your heart. If you don't, then you could go a little further into a nice forward bend. Knees are soft to take pressure off the low back. And the forward bends are wonderful for stress reduction. So they're cooling and they help to quiet down the mind. And then when you're ready, you're just going to bring your hands onto your hip points. And you're going to press into the soles of the feet. And you're going to come up slowly to standing. Make sure you come up slowly. You don't want to get dizzy. We've been down on the floor for a long time. And it's really important once we come into standing to just give a little attention first to the feet. So our feet and our legs connect us to the ground. We use them all the time, but we kind of take them for granted. And we spend most of our time up in our heads, kind of from the chin up, thinking. So it's just bringing again some body awareness, some sensory awareness, and helping us to just connect to the earth and ground that supports us. And if you're feeling really stressed out, a really good thing to do is to just start to come into the feet. You can even kind of tap, if you sit on a chair, you can kind of tap the feet lightly up and down, kind of marching way, and that will help to just quiet right down the thoughts. And we're going to then just bring the feet so that they're parallel to one another and they're hip width apart. And we're just going to now sense the four corners of the feet. So the two sides of the heels, the balls of the feet, the balls of the toes. And we feel well planted, kind of like a tree. And then from here, we're going to inhale the arms up. We're going to bring the palms together. We're going to exhale down the center. Sun breath, inhale up. Palms together to the heart. And then you can maybe do another 3 or 5 on your own. Unless that's too much, then you can rest. So again, listening to your own breath. And then when you're done, you can rest your hands there in the heart space with the palms together. And again, just doing a little check-in, noticing how you feel. Maybe where you feel some breath movement. And we're going to do mountain pose next, which is a foundational posture of yoga. It looks really simple, but it's actually really powerful. It has a lot of good benefits. I like to do mine with a block. You don't have to have a block. If you happen to have one, you could use it. Otherwise, it's fine. Just again, you're going to plant the feet to hip width and to feel the soles of the feet. And we're going to kind of work up the whole body now. So little body awareness. So again, the feet are well planted, especially important with mountain. If you have a block, you can just kind of squeeze it a little bit, which will help to strengthen the inner thigh muscles. It also helps to engage the core muscles. And then we're just going to lift the crown of the head. You're going to release the shoulders away from the ears. We're just going to rest the hands. Arms are long by our sides. And I'm going to show you a few different hand positions. So you could try this. You want to gaze forward, so always nice long posture. You could also do, I like this one, where you open up the palms to the front of the body. It's kind of a little bit more of a receptive pose. You could also do prayer hands. If you're using a block, just continue to bring awareness there, squeezing it, feet. And then lastly, if you like, you can just watch the shoulders. You can reach the fingers towards the sky and grow the feet into the earth. And notice where you feel the breath moving in the body, whichever hand or arm position you choose. And then inhale, just give a good stretch. And exhale, come back down. All right, let's see how we're doing on time. We have a little more time. I eventually want to get you down on the ground again, but let's do a little more in standing. So if you still have socks on like I did, you could take them off now, and we're going to do some wide-legged simple poses. So your feet now are going to be 2, 3, 4 feet apart, whatever you can comfortably do. Ultimately, you want to put the arms out straight and kind of bend the fingers up, and it would be like wrists 2 feet. That's about what you eventually want to get to, but it's perfectly fine to start small, particularly if you've got tight hips or back issues. And then we're just going to plant the feet down, and we're going to, again, make them parallel. And we're just going to feel the 4 corners of the feet. And then just sensing the legs, hands are on the hips. And then whenever you're ready, arms come out to the side, fingers reach nice and long, gaze is forward, shoulders relaxed, crown lifted. And again, wholeness, so feeling every part of the body, sensing every part, feeling the breath. A lot of these stretches are really simple. Sometimes the simple ones are give us the most benefit. We're going to just shake the arms out. And I'm not quite sure we have enough time for this, but let's try. I'll just do faster. So you're going to take your left foot, you're going to point it towards your back wall, and you're going to turn the right foot in a little bit towards that left foot, and you're lining up your heel to your instep. The hands are on the hip points, and the torso and the gaze are forward, so not over the left foot, but actually kind of more straight ahead for now. And hands on the hips, inhale, exhale. We're gonna bend the left knee. Now, if you've got knee issues, just repeat the last pose. I would skip this. But it's a warrior two, which is a really nice pose. You're gonna take the left knee towards the little toes. You're gonna press into your right foot. So you feel both legs. And you're gonna just inhale the arms. If you don't wanna use the arms, you could even just hold on to the waist. And we're just gonna gaze again in the same direction as the torso. Breathe. You can look over your left fingers if you like. Relax the shoulders. Knee towards your little toes. And then hands on the hips. Turn the left foot around. And I'm gonna flip around. If you want to do that, you can too. So same setup to start. Feet are parallel, 2, 3, 4 feet apart. We're going to take the right foot towards the back wall. We're going to turn the left foot in a little bit, and it'll be heel to instep or heel to heel. Torso to the side, so not facing the right leg. And then inhale, exhale, right knee over right ankle towards the little toes. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to inhale the arms straight out and aligned. Shoulders are relaxed. Stay with the breath. This opens up the hips, but if you have hip issues, that might be a little much too. So again, you're always the authority for your own body. And just feeling the movement of the breath, and then looking over the right fingers if you like. And then hands back on the hips, and right foot comes around. And we're going to stretch. So all the standing poses are really good for building confidence, increasing stamina. The warrior two is really good for the hips and legs, and so all the standing ones they're also heating. So in the winter they're kind of nice. So they're nice poses to do if you can. And then I like to use my blocks, but you don't have to use blocks. We're going to just bring the feet back so that they're 2, 3, 4 feet apart and they're parallel as we started before. Hands are on the hips. And if you have blocks, they have 3 heights. You could try that. You're also welcome to just use the floor. And from here, 4 corners of the feet. Inhale the arms up, nice and long, look up. Stretch the sides, and then exhale. You can bring the hands to the blocks, or you could do fingertips to the ground. You can hold your elbows. You want to keep the knees unlocked. And again, a forward bend. So if you have unmedicated high blood pressure, heart disease, or any serious eye issues, then just keep the head level. And then from here, we're just going to take our time to come slowly down to the floor. And I think we'll do one back bend, and then we'll get back on our backs. So from here, take your time. You can use any supports under the body that would be helpful for you. And we're just going to kind of roll the thighs out of the hips just so you can bring length into the legs, and then just stretch them nice and long behind you. And then you're going to stretch the arms overhead along the floor. The palms are on the floor. And we're just going to inhale and stretch nice and long, the whole spine, both directions. So through the fingers, back through the toes. Inhale, stretch, and exhale. We're just going to walk the hands and the forearms back towards the body until the elbows sit right underneath the shoulders. And we're in a gentle back bend called Sphinx, which is really good to strengthen the low back area. The back bends also are good for lifting the mood. increasing energy. And you want to relax your neck and your throat. You're just gazing a little bit forward. And the breath. And you feel the pelvis, so you're supported by the pelvis. And then from here, we just kind of press up. And let's do a child pose again. That's what we did in the beginning where we come back. You can either keep the knees together now or you can keep them apart. And you can, like I said, you could use a block under your forehead if you need, or some props under your hips, a blanket. And you can either use the floor or a block to rest your head. You just want to be able to relax the spine and release the hips back towards the heels as best you can without overdoing it. And again, just a nice rest, and it's a nice counter pose after doing Sphinx pose. And then from here, we're going to slowly come onto our backs. And I don't know if people have two blocks, but I just wanted to show you, I have sort of two standards. I have a whole routine for myself at this point that I do every day, but these are sort of my two favorites. This is one of them. You take the one block is tall and the other block is the next height down. You could also do that, but one has to be higher than the other. So if you have blocks or you're willing to invest in blocks, I'm going to see if you can see. So this one is going to be behind here just like that. And what you're going to do, this is a supported back bend called fish, and it may not work for everybody because you got to consider your back. So you'll have to see and play with it. You want to make sure you warm up first. So I take this one, the shorter one, and I just place it between the shoulder blades. And then I take the higher one, and it sits under the back of the head. And then you just have the arms down by your sides with the palms up. And this is really good for the immune system. So it's good for asthma, allergies, because you're opening the chest area, but it also stimulates the thymus gland, which supports the immune system as it opens up this whole area in the chest. It's also brings in a lot of energy. For me, I really like it. It's kind of a joyful feeling. Again, if it works for you and it's comfortable for you, just going to show you this way. I don't know which is going to be better. Just for another minute. And something that you could take home with you, or like I said, get some blocks. And especially right now, because we could all use that support of the immune system. All right. So from here, just a couple simple things. We're going to do some kneaded chest. So we come onto our backs. And the first thing we're going to do is just hug both knees into the chest. You could rock a little side to side. And then we're just going to place both feet on the ground. And the feet are hip width apart. The knees are facing the ceiling. The spine, we grow long on the ground, stretched nice and long. And we're just going to interlace the fingers. We can either rest the hands on the right shin, or we can bring them behind the knee. So whatever's better for you. And we're just going to bring the knee into the chest. So this whole series is great after exercise. This helps release any holding in the low back. I know a lot of people have low back issues. And if you want a little more, you can lengthen the left foot and flex the left foot and relax the right foot. but always good to check in with your low back to see if that's okay. And then we can stretch, just lift the leg long towards the ceiling, the right foot, the sole of the right foot faces the ceiling. And we can just hold behind the leg and give it a nice stretch for the back of the leg. When you're ready, you're going to bring that down. Put the socks back on. And then same setup, so feet hip width, knees facing the ceiling, spine is long, interlace the fingers, bringing the left knee back, hands either on the shins or underneath. So knee to chest pose on the left side. If you want a little more stretch, you can lengthen your right leg on the ground, flex the right foot, relax the left foot. Again, always making sure which is better for your low back. Lifting the left foot up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to support the back of the left leg. You can even flex the left foot a little bit for a little more stretch. And then we're just going to bring the left knee in. We're going to bring both knees in. You can rock a little side to side. And I usually do a lot more on the back before we go into Shavasana, but I want to make sure you get the final relaxation in. So if anyone has any questions, I could just show you real quick at the end a couple other things you could do from there. I also just wanted to show you this because these are kind of my 2 gifts to myself every day. This is a pranayama pillow since I'm big on breath. You could get any bolster really, but this one would be really good for this particular pose. So you're going to sit. If you want to invest in one, they're actually not that bad. They're maybe 20 bucks. And you don't sit on it, but it leans against your sacrum. And you just bring the spine on. You could do this without the pillow underneath if you just felt like trying it now. I usually like to do a little more stretching before this, and then you're going to take the blocks, or you can use pillows. I use pillows when I'm home, just at any height to support the knees as the soles of the feet come together. So the arms are down by the side, and this is the supine bound angle pose. So you could do this in seated too, but this is really a restorative, and you could stay here for 5-10 minutes, work your way up. But this is so great for stress and anxiety. If you have panic attacks, also lifts the mood. It also stretches the legs and opens the hips. And with the pranayama pillow, you open up the breath in the whole front of the body. So the rib cage will open full and the heart space. And again, that can bring in a lot of light. And if you just kind of need to connect to your spirit more, it's a good way to, I usually end my practice that way every day. So just wanted to show you that. If you wanted to look it up, if you have any questions, you can let me know. And then otherwise, you can, if you're still on the ground, you can roll to the side. Just kind of roll to the side, and then you're just going to press into your hands to come up. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity that if you have blankets, you could put them over top, or eye pillows you could use to cover your eyes, since we're in daytime now, so it's pretty late. Anything, if you have a pillow, you can also use it once you get a pranayama pillow. You can just place it under the back of the knees to support the low back. And we're just going to come fully onto our backs. Now, Shavasana is probably just best, if you can, to have the legs long. Again, you could use a support under the legs for the back. If that doesn't work, though, please feel free to keep the legs bent, which is easier on the low back, and just keep the feet so that they're hip width apart. So we're just going to drop the whole body now. This is like complete surrender. So we want to really let go of all the body weight. And I recommend doing Shavasana for 5 to 10 minutes. We don't have quite as much time tonight because it's shorter today because it's a shorter session. But let's just do a little body scan here. So I'm just going to feel the back of the legs, the heels, and the buttocks, and the spine, and relaxing the neck, and releasing all the way to the head, and relaxing the arms, hands, and fingers with the palms up. Arms are by your side. If you prefer, you could place your hands on your belly and just stay with the breath. And then just relaxing the front of the legs and the pelvic area and the belly and the heart and chest are nice and open and the throat relaxes and all the facial muscles, the jaw, the cheeks, the lips, the eyes, and the forehead. And then just tuning into the breath if you haven't already, and just allowing it to come and go completely on its own. Just letting it fall into a natural rhythm. And if any thoughts remain, just bringing the focus to the breath and the body as it relaxes a little more deep. And again, I normally go a lot longer with this, but I don't really have the time today. You have to come to one of my classes. So we're just gonna close that out, but please feel free on your own to do that a little longer. And you're just gonna move the toes and the feet, the legs, the arms and the hands and the fingers. You can stretch arms and legs up overhead, down, nice and long. And then we're just gonna gently take your time, roll over to the side, and just remain here for a little bit. And again, you could stay there longer, but for now we're gonna press into the hands and just come up to seated. If you have a prop, you can use a pillow or block underneath the buttocks again. So it just helps with bringing length into the spine, having that support under the hips. The knees can release down. And from here, we're back to seated where we were in the beginning, and we're just going to bring the palms of the hands together. We're going to chuck the chin a little bit towards the throat to bring length in the neck. The shoulders are relaxed. And maybe coming back to that intention that you said, or an affirmation, or just staying with the breath. Thank yourself for coming and doing some self-care. I hope you'll practice some every day. If you could do even 15 minutes. Of course, you could do more. And I like to just end with this. May we be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May our world be at peace. May we each be little lights into our world. Our world needs our light, especially now. The light in me honors the light in you. And then we just end with a namaste. Just the light in me honors the light in you. So thank you very much. Just a couple minutes over. I wanted to allow time for questions and answers. If anybody has any, you're welcome to stay in your meditation and just shut off the computer if you want to do that. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
All right, well, thank you, Marcia. We did have somebody ask, they wanted you to repeat maybe the book list that you referenced before, as well as maybe a list of the props, or just mention the different types of props that you've been using.
Okay, I'll start with the props. So these two blocks, you could probably find them for $5 to $8 a piece. So I still really like mine to sit on. My students have all now bought pranayama pillows, which was that long pillow, that narrow pillow I showed people, and they sit on that, you know, instead. But something to elevate the hips. Again, the blocks are good for having under the knees for an opening pose. Also for that restorative that I showed. This is the pranayama pillow. Like I said, it's narrow. I also have a big fat bolster. I don't use it as much, but they can come in handy. And I think the only thing I don't have is a round bolster, maybe someday. And in terms of the book list, I don't have a copy with me, but I have it somewhere in a document, and I'd be happy to send it if a person wants to leave their email, or I could email it to Andrew, and Andrew could forward it. So that would be fine. Two books I happen to have with me. This is Kripalu Yoga, which is what I was trained in. Sorry for the Post-its. It's been used a little bit. And very simple, a lot of what we just did and more. This is a new book I got that I love because it has lots of modifications with great pictures. I just bought this back in March, and it's yoga for everyone. Even people that have physical disabilities, it has suggestions for them. And it's 50 poses for every type of body. But I have probably another dozen on my regular list. If people are interested, I'd be happy to share that.
All right. Let's see. More of comments right now, but thank you very much with a lot of exclamation points. I love the fish pose with the blocks. It really helps. Thank you for including it.
Good, I love that.
Somebody asked about if we're going to be offering more yoga classes this summer. We may be offering more yoga classes September, October, November at this point. But I mean, that'll depend on finding instructors and coordinating and all of that. But please check our events calendar or sign up for our email newsletter that details all of our upcoming events to see the latest that we have offering. So
I'd be happy to back. I just have to check with my supervisor, but I don't think, you know, even once a month would be a problem.
Sure.
You know, you might want to get different people. That's fine, just to see. Everybody does it differently. It's a different personal style. So, but I'm open if people would like.
Sure. Another thank you. I may have missed it, but is there a recommended free YouTube gentle yoga class?
There, in the last year, I finally got a little bit up to date, and I have so many. I'm trying to think where they're through. They could be through Prime or Netflix. I'm sure they have them in YouTube as well. I just don't use that as much. But you can just put Google in gentle yoga, and you will come up with a lot. You kind of have to sift through. One video I like, I haven't used in a while, but that's really nice in general, is Rodney Yee, AM, PM. A lot of that is similar to what we did today. That's one that I have. Also, Peggy Cappy, anything by Peggy Cappy, which is yoga for the rest of us, is good. And Lillian, I think it's Folius, something like that. She's been around a really long time. She's also on my book list. So those are good ones to check with. But there, you know, a lot of people have put things on YouTube and Prime and all of that, and I don't think that they're, you know, famous or well known, but I found them to be advantageous when I've use them.
All right. All right. I don't have any more questions or comments at this point. So I'd like to, again, thank everybody for attending. Thank you, Marcia, for doing this for me. I did post your email in the chat, and if anybody didn't get it or would like it, you can certainly email myself, or you can email the reference desk at the library, and we'd be able to get you that information. So I'll do one more check to see if there are any questions. No, it looks like that's it. So thank you, Marcia. Thank you, everybody else. Have a great day, and stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks so much, Andrew, and everybody.